there's a show coming up. It's called the Hot Wheels Show, and I think they do 6 or 8 of them all around the United States.
Of the 2023 Hot Wheels Legends Tour is Chris Watson and the Mazda MX-5 Roadster.
I think you're going to love this. We have something really exciting today. For those of you who have been with my channel for a while, you'll recognize this car. It's a Vespa with a V8 stuffed in the back of it.
Huff small block, pretty interesting looking, teeny tiny little car. Anyway, pretty neat little car. We started the zoomies here. Need to finish weld these guys. Anyway, both of those are set up. So this morning we're gonna go and extract this motor out because this motor is just a dummy. It's no good. It's seized up. So we're gonna go ahead and take this out. We're gonna put a good motor in it, and I don't know if we'll be able to get it to fire today. That's quite a bit to try to get done, but we'll get this one out. We'll get the other one back in, and I think if anything else, we might oil that motor and spin it up with the starter. Make sure everybody wants to play in that respect. We have a clutch and stuff for this thing, but Pete's got a show coming up that he wants to do, and he's not really concerned about it running or not, or actually being able to move. He'll probably fire it up on a tray or something like that. And how I feel about things is, until it's ready for brakes and stuff like that, it's questionable if you want to make it move or not. So we're not going to put the clutch. We're not going to put the clutch in it or the pressure plate. We got all the fun for it, but there's really no need for that right now. And again, this thing is so easy to take out. You know, probably 20 minutes of motor's out. So we'll just probably leave it like that. So first off is we need to extract the blower, intake, the blower, take our valve covers off, take the zoomies off. I can't remember if those are finish welded or not. I'm sure we'll find out here momentarily. So this is a plate here that actually adapts it to, this is Volkswagen drivetrain. So anyway, we'll extract those bolts out and the plate should come off relatively easy. And then we'll have to change the flex plate, or actually flywheel, sorry. And put that other motor in here and start buttoning up things. Again, I'm not really too worried about making it run right now, but I do want to oil that motor and just spin it, you know, make sure everybody's fine and see what they want to do, and then we'll go from there. So hang on. Okay, so first off, remember, yeah, this intake is just sitting on there. So actually, well, there's one bolt. there's one bolt. So we need to get that 9/16 wrench, take the zoomies off, and trying to just get this thing changed over, because we have the concrete pad. Pete went ahead and cleaned it up, or cleaned up my mess. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and get this off, get that other motor on there. Again, like I said, I'd like to spin it. We won't put plugs or nothing in it, just spin it over. And then once the other motor's in there, you can go ahead and move this out. And I'd like to get Brandon's truck in here, finish up on the motor mounts and getting hot and heavy on his truck, because I'm sure he's wanting it sooner than later. And as you know, with builds, you're always behind. Doesn't matter what it is, you're just behind. So let's go ahead and take this off here. Alright. While we're staring at it, let's go ahead and take our valve covers off. I believe all this stuff should be just finger tight. Pretty neat little creation. This little girl was prior to me coming over here. And the cool thing too, I want to show you something. One thing I noticed, Pete's a pretty big fan of all the like European stuff. Check that out. Check that window out. Yeah, see, that window actually slides. It doesn't go down, and it seems to be a pretty common thing for early English stuff. Anyway, little parts of trivia there for you first thing in the morning. With me blabbing here. Let's go ahead and get these guys up here. Yeah, see, these guys, I need to finish welding there, but it looks like they're off to a good start. I guess you could consider this the Odd Rod official car. His logo's on the door and all the fun. I will say this, though, as cars go, it's about the easiest one to work on. While we're taking stuff off, let's get our crank pulley off of there. Make sure we don't want to forget taking that off. Sufficient. Okay. Show you something. It's a pretty neat little thing. So the clutch actually sits in here. Obviously, here's your pressure plate and stuff like that. So anyway, I need to retrieve these guys, take them off, take this off, and yeah, kind of neat how it sits in there. Pretty neat obajito. We got good bolts going on there. I'm gonna scrape some of that out there so we don't have stuff flying around. Anyway, yeah, it's got places for dowels. Pretty neat little setup. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this off. We need to get that motor over here and put this on, then put that in there. Hang on. Okay guys, I figured, you know what, before the motor goes in there, why not do some wiring? You know, that way I won't have to do it later. So anyway, I have a green wire here. This is for the distributor. and power, big power, big ground. This is a starter kicker. This is going to be the distributor and ignition there. So we won't bother putting those together right now. But what I want to do is make sure that our starter's working. So, ready? Alright. Yay! So it seems to be working. Let's disconnect it. And now I need to clean up my mess a little bit. Now we'll put that motor on there. Yeah, motor. So sorry I worked ahead of you guys a little bit. This is the motor we're going to use. I want to clean it up a little bit. Just spiff it up a little bit. And so the dipstick was running into the problem with the header. So what I did was I used a tubing bender. I bent it here and here. And I actually had to unroll this bend a little bit. But now, there's everything. So now what I want to do is, I know I have to finish weld the headers, that's a given. I want to make sure my header pattern's okay on this side. And over here I need to, on the, would be the driver's side. Well, now it's the passenger side. Right here is where you can tap in for a coolant temperature. So what I think I'll do is on the other header flange, I have to make a circle here. That way, if we want to use that as a probe, we can do that. Okay, you guys. So right there's my marks. I need to make a half moon out of that. I'm gonna use the cutoff wheel, and I'll cut this side and then that side, and then I'll scrud. I'll do a couple lances. And then just use a grinder and back cut it. That's about the quickest way to do it. You could drill that out and perforate it, but for what we need to do, to cut out the wheel will be fine. Anyways, what we got now? So we'll go ahead and get a couple bolts, put it on there, and see how bad off we are. All right, guys, it's pretty good, dude. So by the time it's actually tight, there's a little bit of relief in there. I'll probably take a grinder and just back cut that, grind that down a little thinner, and that's a completely workable unit. So I'll go and grind that thin a little bit and paddle wheel it, and it'll be awesome. So I still have to finish weld the headers, but that won't stop us from putting the motor in. Let's get the motor in there, that way it's up off the ground. I went ahead and tightened up the pressure plate, or the flywheel. Flywheel's good. I still have to find a fitting for the oil pressure and still score a distributor and stuff like that. Now granted, I know we're going to change the intake on this later on to put the supercharger on there, but I would like to just mock it up, put a carburetor on it, distributor, just to fire it, right? Just get some heat in the motor, and that's what I'd like to do. Anyway, let's get it off the ground, let's get it back in the car, and then we can move from there. Okay, guys. So sometimes you get an adapter kit and stuff like that. Sometimes it fits great, other times it doesn't. 70% of the time it doesn't. So, I'll show you here. This shiny spot right here is the back. Let's get right here. So hit there, just a fudge here. And that looks like about it. The reason why it's hitting that is because this plate, well, the motor mounter is actually suspending it off, so it's actually binding it up. Now I didn't do that by cranking it over. I turned the motor over by hand just to see. You never know. Anyway, so it's rubbing here because now the engine is bound up. It's not completely flush. So I don't want to shim it out on the top because there's a machined rib here, and that rib right there. So that rib actually sits inside of here. You see that? Now goes all the way around. So I need to keep that as true as possible. So what I'm having to do is grind these flatter, this guy and that guy. Yeah, grind these flatter. Then once I get that done, I'm gonna have to take a grinder and try my best to back cut these marks right here. That has to be flat against there. That's a lot of beef, man. Anyway, I'm hoping that it'll work, because I can't do anything else. I can't move the motor mounts because they sit right where they're supposed to be already, and just because they bolt to here, I can't do nothing with that. And I can't take the tranny and fudge the tranny either. So I already got this mount done. I need to grind this down a little bit more to where it's flush. Grab this right here and grind it flat. And then take a grinder and grind this stuff out here. I'm not too worried about grinding this down because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We have these guys, and then this is the engine here. That's the engine side. So anyway, let's get to grinding. Alright guys, so from here, that way, I have to shave all that. I don't want to, but that's what we got. Almost 3/4 through the other ear, so we're doing good. I'm letting the wheel cool off. I'm gonna let the piece cool off a little bit. But you know, I know a lot of people would just put it together and sit there and let it chew a hole and everything would be fine. You could do that. It's kind of a shoddy way to do it. But worse yet, if it's bound up, it won't let the input shaft freewheel when you clutched it and stuff like that. So it theoretically it'd bind it up all the time. I mean, it'd bind up the pressure plate, it'd bind up the clutch, it'd bind up all of it. So unfortunately, we're just gonna have to do it. Nothing like being a machinist with a grinder. Once that's on, then the motor can go in there and we've done the truing process. So you see this rib here? And here, little rib right there, right here, all that. It's pretty consistent all the way around. So it's probably within a 64th or so. I'm going to call that pretty good. There's not really that much more we can do. And see, we back cut these guys here. I think that'll work. So now let's put the engine back in. Well, there it is. Here's our plate we had to manipulate. That was done at the bottom. And how I saw it was in there. That's where I was rubbing. So, let's go ahead and spin it over. I'm just going to do it by hand. Well, let's go and pop the battery in it. See what it sounds with battery.
Alright, so apparently I'm late to the party. I talked to Tommy earlier this morning and we decided we were going to pull that one engine. We were just going to fit this one up. And he's decided that we're going to start it. Well, we're going to start it without the supercharger so we can get things dialed in and make sure everything is okay. And that's a smart thing to do. So here pretty quick, we are going to finish up putting the header on. We'll get some spark plugs in it. We're going to try and fire this girl. And if it works, like we think it will, tonight I might come out when it's dark and fire it again and see if we have some flames shooting out. It'd be pretty cool. So anyway, hang on for the ride. Alright, we just got the zoomy headers put on. We're going to do well, we got the plugs ready. We got to tighten them up. We're going to put some spark plugs on it. We're going to dump some gas down this and see if it fires. So, alright, very short exhaust. This bolt right there, I don't know if you can see my finger or not, but that bolt right there was a dog to put in. Anyway, things are tight on this thing, even though you got an engine just hanging out. Sort of a pain to work on. So we have it half wired right now, the spark plug wires. We'll do the other side. We're gonna try and put some fire in it. All right, so we don't have the fuel pump obviously hooked up. We don't have a fuel tank, anything. We're just trying to spin it. We're actually going to dump gas down the carburetor. Don't recommend it to you guys. Usually you get a big old flame up, so we'll try and not catch the place on fire. But let's see how Tommy has this wired up. What is this wire here? Oh, this your throttle? You're going to try and fire it by yourself, aren't you?
No, I figured
This is redneck engineering. Look at that. Nice little wire. Whoom, whoom, whoom.
Hey. And it's
Secondaries don't open up.
right because it's a
Vacuum. Oh. Hey,
we do some shady stuff here, but this is well, not shady, but we do some interesting stuff. But today is
temporary things.
Yes.
This is mock-up to the extreme. We're going to try and fire it during the mock-up stage. I'm not going to move it. If I touch it, I get shocked. That is the truth. All right, well, we're hoping that it's just battery. We have a Volkswagen transaxle with a starter that goes up against a small block Chevy, so sometimes you have to get a high torque starter. Anyway, we're going to put a better battery in and see if we can get this girl to fire. Take two. Let's see if it cranks first. We're not going to put any fuel in yet. Yeah, it might work. Just dump a little fuel down there. All right, I think this should make a pretty cool build. We're gonna start messing with the supercharger and start getting this thing pulled apart. Try and make this the level that a Hot Wheels show would expect. Hey, I want to thank you guys for coming and checking out the Outrod Garage. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, link, share, you know the garbage. And as always, thanks for watching. Super excited. Could this be my stupid car? Should I do a different one? I don't know. It might be a Hot Wheels I'm building.